all gone through the. Anyone new to this class who did not attend the session, yesterday's class? Anyone there? New to this session who did not attend the yesterday's class? Okay, so yesterday we had the first session, which is nothing but intro to the DevOps course and the agenda of the course and the high level picture of this course. That's what is covered yesterday. So today we are starting with the first tool in our DevOps course, which is a version control system, right? So what is version control system? Why do we need it? Who uses this version control system? What is the perspective of a DevOps engineer for a version control system? Architecture of version control system, and why we are going with Git comparison with other tools, and then we'll start with Git hands-on, right? So let's get started. Any questions if you have, you can unmute and speak out, or else you can message in the chat window. So let's get started. So what is a version control system? Some of you might be aware of it, or some of you might be new to it. I'll take it from the basic. Like version control system is nothing but it will help you to manage your project files or project data. Let's say you are working as a developer and you have some 100 files. You need a system which can secure, which can help you save them securely, which can help you maintain versions of it, which can help you take backup of it, right? That's what version control system comes in. This is used by not only developers. For developers, it's mandatory anyway, but it can also be used by testers. Testers also have test scripts, right? They are doing automation testing. So they do have test scripts. Testers will use it. Ops teams will use it. They'll have some configuration scripts, config files, manifest files, and so on. Even they use it. Obviously, DevOps team also uses it. DevOps team also has got manifest files, config files like Terraform config files, Kubernetes manifest files, Ansible playbooks, any script files, all of that should be version controlled. So I can conclude that everyone in the IT need to learn version control system. At least basics are needed. For the developers, they need to go to in-depth. Even DevOps people, if they have to manage their project work, project files, yes, they need to know what is a version control system, right? So that's what a version control system is, and it can version control any files. It could be a program file, it could be a script file, config file. Like again, coming to program, it could be Java, .NET, whatever it is. Any files can be version controlled. Even static files, simple text files also can be version controlled, right? So there are again two types of version control systems, like centralized version control system and distributed version control system. This is how version control systems are categorized based on their architecture. If you see here, this is the central version control, central repository. First, let's talk about the central version control system architecture. Before this, before going into these types, let me talk about few scenarios to help you understand this in depth. Let me give you a few examples. Let's imagine there is a project, right? All the files, all the project work was kept here. Let's imagine there were some files like file 1, file 2, and so on. Okay, this is some remote location or a shared folder. I'm talking about a scenario without version control system. Means they were not using version control system, and this is how they manage the files. And yeah, this is the shared place where all the project files were kept. And there were two people in the team, person A and person B. So both of them, let's suppose they want to make changes on the same file. A got this file downloaded from his system and named, which is file 1. Even B also got his file to his local system to make the changes. Now A made the changes to this file. B also made the changes to this file. Let's suppose A kept this file back on day 1. On day 1, he pushed his changes back to the shared location, right? On day 1, he moved his changes. On day 2, B pushed his changes to the shared location. Finally, after B pushing the changes, this file 1 will have which person changes? Will it have both the person changes, A and B changes, or whose changes will be there? Which person will be there?
Person
Only
B.
the person
Okay,
B.
right? Simple logic. If they are not using any version control system, what happens here? Person B is overwriting changes of A, right? A doesn't know this, that his changes are being overwritten. Similarly, B doesn't know that he is doing it, right? This keep on continuing. Imagine a team of 10 people. If they are working this way, at some point of time, project will be messed up or corrupted, right? Corrupted files and all. So how to handle this? That's where again this version control system comes in. Means this allows people working on the same file simultaneously, because this is a regular or general use case. There would be a scenario where people have to work on the same file at the same time. So if you use version control system, this can help handle them simultaneously, right? Because see, people, it could be a developer or a tester, it could be a development team or testing team or QA or a DevOps team. They concentrate on working on their files, making the changes. They cannot work on checking if other person is overriding his changes, whether his changes are saved securely or not without overwriting. All of this they cannot handle, right? It would be tedious, and also it is not the focus, right? They need to focus on managing the files, making the changes, but not checking on how securely their files were saved. This is one thing. Another thing is we need a system which maintains a detailed logging of the changes happened. Meaning, let's suppose application is working fine till 7 a.m., right? Something went wrong and at 7:20 application crashed. We need to immediately identify the change and put it back. How do we do that? What happened in between? So again, we need a system which can provide a detailed logging, like person A made changes on file 1 on line number 6 at 7:10. This led to the system crash. If you have this kind of detailed logging, including the person who made the changes, lines where he made the changes, at what time, in which file, if you have this kind of detailed logging, it is easy to revert the changes as needed, right? So a system which can help you with a detailed logging of the changes happening to your code base. It could be a code or script, whatever it is. Right, that's another use case where version control systems comes in. And then another scenario is, let's suppose, okay, you are working on file 1. It's a version 1 of this file. Client want to make some modifications, right? The client gave some modifications and they want a version 2 of this file. Like they need a new version. So what you did, you edited the same file, made the modifications, made version 2. But after some days, like after a month of using it, client don't want it. It's not working. It's not helpful for them, or else users are not liking this. They just want to go back to the previous version, version 1. But you have overwritten that and made a new one. Means again a lot of rework to develop version 1, right? So don't ever do this. Don't delete the versions. Have the backup, maintain the backup of the versions. Means you could have taken backup of this version 1. Then edit the file to version 2 so that if you want to go back to the previous versions, it's easy. So again, how do you do that? You have a different focus. Your interest is to meet the client expectations, right? Or else as a DevOps person, your focus is to work on the infra kind of, but you can't do all these things manually, right? Taking backup, maintaining the log, or seeing whether changes are overwriting or secured safely. All of this cannot be taken care individually, right? So to handle this, that's where this version control system comes in. This is the actual purpose of this version control systems. Generally, like we say that, yes, it's used for taking backup of your code base, maintain the versions of the files, right? Allow people work simultaneously. It can manage any static files. But these are the actual scenarios for each requirement. Are we clear what a version control system is? If you have a question, okay, developers have code base, they might be using it. Why do DevOps person need it? DevOps person also have the files, right? Config files, like I already mentioned. Kubernetes manifest files, Terraform config files, Ansible playbooks, Jenkins a file. All of this should be version controlled. Testers have to learn it. They have to manage their scripts, automation test scripts, and so on. Obviously, developers. So everyone should learn it. So as a DevOps engineer, you should know how to use it from the perspective of managing your files. Another perspective is to implement it in the CI/CD. We will learn both the perspectives of using it. First, we'll get started with managing the files, like how you can manage your files in the version control system. Are we good? Any questions? Let me know. I will take it as a no. You can confirm me in the chat window if it is clear. Right. Now, depending on their architecture, they were categorized as centralized version control system, distributed version control system based on their architecture. So let's first get started with centralized version control system. So here, if you see, this is called a central server or remote server where all the project work would be kept. And these are the workstations of individual DevOps engineers or developers, or like if you consider DevOps team, DevOps engineer, these are the workstations of individual DevOps persons. Now, if they want to make any changes, they will connect to the central server or remote repository, get the changes to their local, make the changes, put it back. This is how they work. It is very simple, but the challenges are very clear. For some reasons, if there is no network, let's say network disconnected, entire work would be halted because you need to connect to the central server and work with it, right? That's one of the challenges we have with this. Another thing is, let's suppose this central server is lost. This central server is crashed or lost, right? Chances of recovery is also less because like everyone is just getting the files where they have to make changes and put it back. Chance of recovery are less in case if the central server is lost or crashed. These are the challenges with this centralized version control system. And there were so many version control systems, right? Out of it, SVN, DFS, Perforce comes under centralized version control system architecture. And there comes another type of version control systems which overcome these drawbacks, which is nothing but distributed version control system. In distributed, if you see, this is called the central server or remote server, again, where all the project, all the code bases. And this is the workstation of each individual collaborator or a DevOps engineer or developer, right? And if you see the workstation of each developer, they will have another repository called as local repository. That means which is a copy of this remote repository or central repository. They'll have an exact copy into their workstation. And this is called working directory. Means there'll be another directory which is called a working directory. Actually, changes would be made in this directory. Then they should be pushed to local repository. From local only, that will be pushed to remote. Everyone will have the same kind of architecture locally. So what is the advantage of this? Even though network connections are disconnected, like there is no network, still you can continue work on your local repository, right? This is on your hard disk. You can still make your changes. Only to move them to remote, you need the connectivity. Am I making sense? Means, okay, let's say I'm ready with my changes. Okay, I want to share it with others. Then you have to push it to remote. As long as they are in local repository, others can not see those changes. Only when you push to remote, other users can see the changes. So whenever you are done with your work, you can push to remote. And if you want to get a copy from remote, it's called pull. Pull and push free commands are less frequent, isn't it? You copy once, right? Once, like when you want to get the changes from remote, you pull it. If you want to share it with others, you push it. These are less frequent. Majority of the work happens in the local repository, which doesn't need network connectivity. Entire work is not halted. You can still continue working locally, right? That's how it overcomes the first disadvantage. Also, as you're working local, this is faster. right? These distributed version control systems are faster. Also, if for some reasons the central server is lost or crashed, chances of recovery are more. Recovery chances are more. Why? It's because, say, every user is having a copy of the central server, right? Central repository. So obviously chances of recovery are more. Right, this is called distributed version control system. How do you pull, how do you push, how do you create local, what is your remote, how do you create working directory? All of this we are going to see practically today in few minutes. We'll get started with the hands-on, right? We'll see all of this, but this is the theoretical part of giving you an understanding of what is what, which we are going to see practically in some time. Is this much clear? Any questions from anyone? Local repository, working directory. WD means working directory. LR is local repository. Every user will have local repository, which is a copy of remote, and they'll be working on another directory called working directory. Any more queries? Is this clear for all of you? A quick confirmation will help me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you all. So these are the distributed version control systems. So our Git falls under this distributed version control system. Today, almost all the modern DevOps projects uses Git, which follows this distributed architecture. Git, Mercurial, fossils follow this distributed architecture. That's the reason of using Git, because of all of these advantages. So we are learning Git in this course. If you know Git, other version control systems are very easy to switch over. And also this is a graph comparison of Git with other tools. This is a graph from 2020. You can also get the latest graph from Google Trends. This is a comparison with SVN, TFS, fossils, and so on. There is no doubt, like, Git is the clear winner in the category. It is a market leader. If you see the graph, the blue one is for Git, and the other graphs you can see, right? So master Git, which will help you. Now, we have learned the architecture of version control systems in general. Now let's get into the architecture of Git in particular. So let's deep dive into this. If you see, this is the this is the workstation of individual collaborator, right? And if you see here, local repository, working directory, which we are talking about. And this is the remote repository, right? So how do you create local repository and all? We'll see. Before that, let me tell you, when you make some changes in your working directory, let's imagine some directory in your system, a folder. And then from working directory, you'll push the changes to staging area. Means you cannot just push this way directly to local. No, this is not possible, right? This is not possible. You will first move your changes to staging area. From staging area, you will move the changes to local repository. This is the architecture. From working directory, you will move the changes to staging area. From staging area, you will move them to local repository. This is the architecture, right? The staging area is like uh, a preview or else pre-check before you move your changes to local repository. This is actually a virtual layer, a virtual area. Okay, it's not a physical folder on your system. It will be a virtual area. First, you have to move to that virtual area. Then from there to local repository. From local repository only, you have to push to remote, right? So you can't jump from working directory to remote or staging area to remote and all. This is the architecture. It is like 3 steps before your changes goes to remote. Only once your changes goes to remote, anyone else can see your changes, right? This is the called Git tree or Git architecture. And you might be having a question, why do we need this staging area? Any importance for this staging area? This is working directory, staging area, and local repository. Staging area is, like I said, it's like a preview or else pre-check before your changes goes to remote. Let me give a simple example. Suppose you are having some 10 files in your working directory. You want only 5 files out of them to move to local. You will put only those 5 files to staging area. Means it helps you like a preview or a pre-check, or else it will give you a better control on what changes you are moving to local. Okay, how is it giving better control and all, we'll see with the practicals. Right, once we start the hands-on, you will understand this better. But theoretically, this is the thing. And here, let me talk about how do you create this local repository in your system, right? There are two scenarios for this. First scenario is assume it's a older project. Okay, it's already a project there. You join the team today. You can imagine it like a development team or testing team or a DevOps team. Let's assume DevOps team as we were into that's our focus. This is, let's say it's a DevOps project. It's already an older project. You join the team today as a DevOps engineer. Already remote project is there, right? Now you are given a task to make some changes to some files. So first what you will do, you will copy from remote and create a local repository. This is what you will do. The exact commands we will learn later, but just I'm giving a clue here. Like there is a command called git clone. You'll copy from remote and create a local repository. Then work on your local repository. Once you are done, you move to remote. Right? This is one use case. Another one is assume it's a new DevOps project. Project is formed just today or let's say this month. Okay, it's a new project. Team is formed now. It's a building a team today. And like you join the project. There's nothing on remote to get a copy, right? So what you will do, you will create a local repository manually. Create a local repository manually. There are different commands like git init and all. Create an empty local repository, right? Then again, like earlier, you make your changes, create your files, then move it to remote. Means there are two ways to create local repository if you notice. One is by copying from remote. Another one is create an empty one manually, then push your changes to remote, right? These are the two use cases. We will see both of them. First, today we'll get started with this. Assume that we are new team, there's nothing on remote, you create it locally, then proceed with the changes and push to remote. Clear with these two use cases, everyone?
Yes.
Right? So this is how you create a local repository. Before we get into the scenario, here there is another interesting point I would like to make a note of. We were talking about working directory, local repository, and so on, right? Okay. This working directory, local repository, physically they are the same folder. If you are Linux person, same directory or folder, okay? So it's the same. Then how come you call it as a working directory? How come you call it as a local repository, right? Physically they are same. Logically they are different. What is meant by that? Let me explain you this. Let's imagine this is a folder. Okay, you have created local repository in either ways, either through the first use case or second use case, you got the local repository. Now, you just have created a file here or copied a file, brought a file to this folder means it is set to be in the working directory. Okay, physically it's again in the same folder, but you will call it like it's in the working directory. Suppose you added it to the staging area by running some commands we will learn separately. Then you will call it as it is in the staging area. Suppose then you have moved it to local by committing those changes. Then you will call it as in the local repository. That's how logically they are different, but physically they are one and in the same folder. Is this much clear for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
right? So these are the few things you can make a note of it. We will reiterate once we get to the hands-on, but this is the basic understanding we have. See here, actually, you can still use Git without learning these things, because we generally see people without having this knowledge, people uses Git, they do push, pull, clone and all, right? These are the actual concepts behind this. People, like, I'm talking about some of them, not that everyone. Some of them will not have this kind of knowledge. They just use pull, push and all without knowing having the knowledge on what is a staging area, local repository and all. But when you get some issues, when you have to troubleshoot or when you have to clear your interviews, with confidence, and if any sort of interview question, if you have to answer, you need to have this understanding of the subject and to work in the projects independently. If some issue comes in, if you have to troubleshoot independently or solve it with the minimal help, these basics are needed. If you don't know these basics, a small thing also you can't solve on your own. So make sure you are good with this kind of knowledge. Just learning the commands will not do. You need to understand like why, what is the need of each and every component. So these are the points you have to memorize. I'll share this document as well, like including this Git architecture. Everyone like should have this architectural diagram in your mind. This architectural diagram should be there on your mind when you work with Git commands, so that you understand what you are doing without blindly following the commands, right? So this is all about the theoretical part. Now let's begin with the hands-on. Git can be like it works on multiple operating systems. It works on Windows, Linux, Mac, and so on. Right? Only installation differs. Listen carefully. Okay, only installation of the tool differs. Right? How the tool works, the commands, the concepts remains same, 99% same. So let's begin. Here we are going to install Git on my, like here in my case, I'm going to install on my local computer, which is Mac. If you have Windows, you can install it straight away. Linux also the same. We don't need to get into cloud now. When to go to cloud, when do we need a Linux system? I'll tell you. For now, you can just use your laptop to learn Git. So now let's see how to install Git on your laptop. All the links from where to download this URL, everything are there in the Google Drive. Okay, you will get access to those Google Drive, all the material, right? But this is the process you should follow. These URLs may change. You need to know like what is the process, where should we go? So this is the official documentation of Git where you can check with the download. See here, if it is Windows, just go here, right? Download the executable, either it is 32 or 64, depending on your operating system, and run the executable. I believe this is clear for all, right? How to download the executable and run the executable. Everyone should be aware of it. Anyhow, let me show you one more thing. Yeah. See, this is the Google Drive you will all be getting access to. Right here, you have each separate folder for each tool. Now we are covering it. So if you go to Git, this is the day one, day two commands and all. And installation documents, if you want to install it on Windows, including the URL, like I told you, right? URL, the screenshots of how to download the executable, everything is there. I think there should be one more document with the steps. Oh, okay. Sorry, I came to the wrong folder. Okay, this is the document. Here is the presentation which we are going through. For your reference, you can go through this. And yeah, this is the installation document. Right, here are the steps, like a screenshots, including the steps, whatever you have to do for installing it on Windows. It's quite simple, just clicking on next button on the wizard. Right, that's how you install Git. And then if you are installing it on Linux, go here and you have the Linux commands depending on the distribution of your Linux. Either it is Debian or Fedora or Arch Linux or SUSE Linux, you have everything. Just execute those commands. If it is Mac, here are the steps. right? You can install it through brew or sudo port install git. There are multiple ways. So you can follow this and install because it's just a one-line command to install git on Mac, on Linux. And on Windows, download the executable and run the executable, right? That's all. So once it is installed, if it is Windows, how to launch it is there. Go to the start menu and run git bash. Git bash shell, like git bash will be open and you can use it, right? Here are the steps. Go to git bash. If it is Mac, launch the terminal, right? This is my terminal, right? And as Git is installed, I can check the version. Any version should be fine. That's the version installed. So Git installation is done. Now we can go ahead and use Git. Means here Git is installed on my system. I have to use Git. I have to use Git to version control some files and folders, right? How to do that? First, choose some folder. Let me go to the desktop. Here I'm using CLI, right? So I'm on my desktop. So here I can create some folder and use it for Git. Okay, so I'm using simple Linux commands from CLI. mkdir means make directory, make a folder or directory. Let's say I'm creating a folder as Git demo. Now if you do ls, it should be shown here. This is the one. If you want to go into it, cd git demo, go into this folder. This is simple CLI, like in Windows, you also do it from the command prompt, right? A simple commands. Git commands, Linux commands, we will learn separately. Here I'm just showing you very simple commands of creating a folder. Okay, now let's suppose this is my Git demo is my project folder. Now I want to version control any files and folders in this particular project folder. Git is installed on my system, but I should tell Git which folder it should version control, right? So go to the folder, whichever you want to version control. And if you want this to become a local repository, I'm taking a use case. Let's say it's a new project. There's nothing on remote. I want to create a local repository. Go to the folder and run the command called git init. Git init means initialize Git, start Git. Means you are telling Git, please version control any files and folders in this particular folder. So go to that folder and run this command, right? It says that initialized empty Git repository and it says .git. ls, nothing is shown. If you want to see hidden files, ls -a. See, there is a .git folder created in Git demo, meaning in short, whichever folder is having .git, if any folder is having .git means that particular folder is called a local repository. That's a simple way of identification. That's nothing but local repository. Local repository is created, right? If you want to, right, like let's say you are not into the CLI part, right? You don't want to use CLI, you are not comfortable in the CLI part. You can also use the GUI, like you can just go here, okay, create a folder like you create on your Windows, right click, create a folders. That's how you can use. As of now, this is the folder I created. If you just go here, it's showing nothing. If you do, once. Yeah. So you can see hidden folder now. Do you see that? .git. It will have some metadata and all. You don't need to worry about what is all this. .git. .git is there means it's nothing but local repository. So from GUI also you can use it if you are not comfortable from CLI. Okay. If you are new to CLI, just do that way. Okay, fine. Now I just want to see Git status. Git status will tell you like what are all the files present. There is no file here, right? Let me create a file. Like I said again, just go here, right click, create some files. Or else I'm creating from the CLI. I'm using touch. Touch will create some file. I'm creating a simple text file. You may create any file. If you are a developer, create some .NET file, Java file, or Python script files, or testers may create your test scripts or simple config files, whatever is your convenience. Here, I am not bothered about whether it is a text file or a program file or a Kubernetes manifest file, because first we are learning how to manage the files. First, if you learn how to use Git to manage version control these files, you can manage any file. Right? We did not learn Kubernetes or Ansible or anything yet. So I'm just creating some simple text files to learn how to version control these with the Git. Right? So my interest is not the file type. So I just created some text files, some dummy files should do. So I just created a text file. Now, if you see, yes, this is here. If you want to add something here, yes, you can add, like this is my first file. This is just a notepad. Okay, you may use any editors. Okay, I made some change. Done. Let me check now what's happening with this. It says that untracked file. To track it, it is asking to do git add to track it. See here, nothing added. Use git add to track. Means Git knows there is a file, but Git is not tracking it. And it is asking us to add if you want Git to track it. Means, can you tell me where is this file now? What does it mean?
Staging area.
Where is the file now?
Working directory.
Exactly. It's in a working directory. See, it is asking us to add to the staging area. Means, where is it? Can you rethink now? Sorry.
Yeah, once you have given the command
Hmm.
and executed it, it goes to the staging area.
True, true, yes. So once you add it, it goes to the staging area. As of now, it is in the working directory, right? That's how you know where is your file. By seeing this git status untracked means, okay, it's in the working directory. Okay, fine. I'll put it in the staging area. I told you, right? Git demo is the local repository. Same folder is the working directory also. Physically same. Now, is that making sense? Is it justifying what we discussed some time back? Yeah. So now add it. Now check the status. Where is the file now? Can you tell me where is this file now?
Staging area.
Now staging area.
Yes, now it is in the staging area, right? If you want to put it in the local repository, you can do git commit -m. M is mandatory flag. M means message. Some message for your commit, like first commit or whatever, like first commit message kind of. Done. Now, can you tell me where is this file? Physically, it's in the same folder, isn't it? It's in the same Git demo. Git demo is nothing but your local repository. Git demo is nothing but your working directory. But now the file is in the local.
Local repository.
Yeah. Then it says Git status. This is some default file. Just ignore this. So Git status. Okay. First, let me add everything. Okay. Now dot means you are adding everything. Okay. It is about commit. Let me just do git commit -m. All changes, some message. Whenever you make the commits, git status. See, it's clean. Means whatever file you have, this file is added to the local repository. Right? This is how it works. That's the concept of working directory, staging area, and local repository. Let me repeat it with another file so that the concept should be crystal clear. I'm creating another file. Now, can you tell me where is this file? Where is file 2?
Working directory.
Working directory.
Directory, that's why it's saying untracked. What should we do now to move to staging?
You add it. Git add file to
File 2. Right now, can you tell me where is this file?
staging area.
Staging area. Right? So it is in the staging area. Now, if you want to, like, it is asking us to commit -m, let's say second file, something like this. Done. Now, if you see git status, right? It's clean. Means I have two files, all of them are in the staging area. See, ls will list the files in this particular folder. Okay. Git ls files will list the files in the staging area or local repository. File 1 and file 2. If suppose I created another file, see the difference. ls will show all of them. Git ls files. Do you see that file 3 is not there in the local repository or working directory? Got the difference between ls and git ls files commands? Similarly, if you want,
LS is listing.
yeah, ls will list in the folder. Git ls files will list the files in the staging area and staging area and local repository. Right? This is how you have working directory, staging area, local repository. We can do many things with this. Before that, I would like to show you one more thing. Like if you are using Mac or Linux, you may use this way, right? You may use the CLI this way. If it is Windows, also Git Bash again CLI. If you are not comfortable with the CLI, or else if you just don't want to open the files in the notepad, because I'm just opening them in a notepad, right? But notepad is not a good editor. You can use a better editor. Even having experience hands-on on these editors is very much required. Even companies looks for hands-on experience with those editors. There are many editors. Like one of the most widely used editor is VS Code editor. In simple, see if you are new to this, don't worry. It's like editor is nothing but you have Notepad, Notepad++. These are all different editors, right? WordPad, where you can modify your files. Similarly, VS Code editor or IntelliJ, these are all editors which can help you manage your files, any type of files. So just download it. If it is Mac, click on this and download it and open. If it is different operating systems also, you can see here. If it is Mac, Windows, or or Linux, okay, you can just go through them, download and launch it. Once even those steps were there, you don't need to worry about it. VS Code download URL, everything here. So once it is there, this is how you will see your editor. This is your editor. The advantage of this editor is it will help you manage your files with more convenience. Right? Like it can manage any files. It can help you with syntax, highlighting, auto completion kind of. So this is your editor. Go to file, open the folder. We already have Git demo, right? It is on my desktop. So you can just open it. All the files can be seen this way. This is very much convenient, right? Rather than going to the folder or checking from CLI. Also, again, to run Git commands, you don't need to go to the terminal separately. Here itself, you'll see terminal, launch it. See, you can see your terminal. That's all. This is the G shell launch by default. If you want, you can switch which terminal you want. I want Git Bash terminal also, you can do. It will show you. You can run the commands here itself, like git status. This file is there, right? Like file 3. So it was showing here in the Explorer, you can see U means unstaged. It's simple, right? It's much more better and easy. So if you want, you can add this file 3. Right now you can see A means added to staging, index added. Now I would commit git commit -m last file or whatever, some message. Done. Now you can see the status as clean. This is more convenient way. Okay. And before going to the next scenario, I'll show you a few more things. Till now, we made a bunch of commits, right? All these commit history will be saved and you can refer to the commit history using git log command. Right? Do you see that? Every commit will generate a commit ID, a hash code ID like this, a unique ID. It will also show you the author who made the changes, that this is the name with which I log into my system, timestamp when the changes were made, and the commit message. Git log will show you the complete history of the commits. This is what is a log I am talking about some time back, including the timestamp, right? And for every commit, you give a message, right? This is called commit message. It's very important. It's like a comment. Because after 6 months, if I just want to come back and understand, okay, what this commit is for, I should give a relevant, meaningful message. Like, for example, let's say I'm making changes to my Terraform file. Imagine these are the Terraform files because we are learning it and throughout the course, we are going to implement to our project, right? So if it is Terraform file, I would say maybe this commit is made to make changes to EC2 instance or some changes made to S3. Some relevant message so that I could understand what this commit is for, right? So that's a log command. And that's the importance of commit message, which we are giving. As of now, I'm just giving some simple messages, but that's how we should give a relevant message. Also, if you want to see brief log, not the detailed one, use one line flag. So it will show you first 7 characters are enough and the commit message. See the complete history. Right? That's a log command.
Ma'am, I have tried to commit the file, but getting some error regarding that. It is showing me to please tell me who you are. Run git config space hyphen hyphen global user dot email something like this.
Yeah. Okay. For the first time, if you are committing on your system, okay, it needs to track, right? It will ask for username and password. These are the commands you should execute. These are there in the Google Drive, right? Git config global use. Set some name and email ID for tracking. Then it will show you like this. In my case, it's showing me like this, right? Whenever I do the log, this email, this name and email ID. For tracking, it needs those details. So run those commands, it should work,
Yeah. Okay, sure.
right? So that's about the log command, the commit IDs, staging area, working directory and all. Everything is clear till now? Any questions from anyone until this much? Any questions? Some of you raised the hand. Rohit, any questions? Thank you for confirmation. Some of you confirm. Okay, Rohit says, what is branch master? What is Git bash? Okay, branch masters and the concept of branches is separate. We will discuss that, Rohit. Maybe we'll come to the concept of branching tomorrow. And Git bash. Git bash is nothing but a terminal to run Git commands. And this is available in Windows. In Windows, when you install Git, where do you run Git commands? So whenever you install Git in Windows, if you go to the start menu, you can launch a Git bash like this. It is there in the documentation as well. How to launch Git in Windows after installation? Go to start menu and type Git bash. You will see something like this, open it. That's where you will run Git commands. A terminal to run Git commands in Windows. Got it? So if it is a Linux or Mac, you don't have that. You just can use terminal. Right. So that's about the log command and all. Shall we get into the next scenario if this much is clear for all? Shall we get into a next scenario, an interesting part? Okay. Appreciate your quick confirmations. Thank you. So coming here, you are seeing a couple of file, right? Okay, there is another question from Abhijit. Ma'am, we often come across names like GitLab, GitHub, what exactly it is? Okay, GitLab, GitHub, these are all, like GitHub, Bitbucket or similar. GitLab is like a Jenkins CI tool. Okay, GitHub we will learn in the course. Okay, maybe once we get started to remote, we'll discuss this. See, actually, till now we were working on working directory, staging area and all, right? So you should always compare or refer to this architecture, right? From working directory, staging area and local. And if you observe this, we are on this part only. We did not go to remote yet. Okay, when to push to remote, before going and pushing to remote, there are many other things we have to learn, right? We'll come to this part, the coming up sessions.
Hi, ma'am.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, ma'am. I have a small doubt, ma'am. Suppose I have edited a file. Again, that is going to working directory.
Please keep muted, everyone. Just a second, give me a second, please. You are talking about a scenario to edit the file, right? We will talk about this.
Okay, ma'am.
That's the next scenario. Right. Yes, you will get access to the Google Drive, Rohit, once you register. So, before taking up further queries, let me get to the scenario. Till now, we were working on creating new files, right? So we have created the new files. So let's talk about modifying the file, because it may not be always creating new file, right? It would be also modifying the existing files. So let's assume we have this file 1. Okay, here I'm adding a new line. You may add any code or anything, any content you want. I'm just adding some dummy lines because our focus is to manage the files. Okay, so added some line. Now, if you see the status, right? Changes not staged. Do you see that? Means, see here you have to understand one thing. Git works with respect to the changes. The change could be creating a file, the change could be deleting a file, or the change could be modifying a file. Here I have added this new line. That particular new line is not staged. It is in the working directory. But do you see the difference? It's not showing the command like untracked, because this file is not new. File is already there. Only certain changes were unstaged. So these are called unstaged changes. Did you get the difference between unstaged and untracked changes? Just a second. I am trying to grab the marker. Marker is not coming up. Okay, so do you understand the difference between unstaged and untracked changes? Untracked changes means if the file is new for the first time, it will be shown like untracked, right? This is not a new file. Changes are already there, right? These are called unstaged changes. This is again the important difference everyone should understand. Marker is not coming up. It's okay. So let me just write down here the unstaged changes. Unstaged changes means file is already there, right? This is not a new file. So if you want to add any changes here, what you can do, you can again do the same git add, git commit. Or else, because it's not a new file, you can also add and commit in a single command like git commit -am commit message. You can do this. This is possible. Making sense? You may do it separately, or you can do it with a single command like this. If it is untracked, definitely you have to do separately only. Git add, git commit. But the concept is again same. Whether it is untracked changes or unstaged means a modification, it will be in the working directory. You have to add it and commit it. Is the difference clear and the commands clear for all of you?
Yes.
Right? So let us use the second part. I mean the first git commit -am. Let me show you the status again. Right? It says changes not staged. It's asking us to commit, add and commit. So what you can do, I can do it in a single command, am add and commit. Okay, let's say modifications on first file, something like this. Right? So now again, it would be as usual. Changes are moved to working. You don't need to add separately and commit. You can also do this way. Is this the scenario you are asking about, Ram? Modifications? Or anything else? Let me know. If your question is answered, let me know. So this is how you can manage the modifications. There are many things which you can do on your local repositories, like modifications on this file. Deleting the file we can do lot many things. Before proceeding to the other scenario, let me show you one thing. These are all the Git commands we have used, right? Till now, history will give you the list of all the commands. These are the commands. So you may these are the commands and all of them are available in the Google Drive. And for every command, let's take a status command or a log command. Every command will have different flags. Meaning, if you take log, let's say I want to see the log of only a particular file. Log is showing you the complete commit history, right? But I want to see the commits of only a particular file. You can do this. Git log file 1. It will show you commits on this particular file only, right? Or else you want to see the log of a specific timestamp, like you want to see the log from August 15 to August 30. Like that, if you want any customizations, yes, that's possible. There are so many options available to each command. You don't need to remember all of that. You don't need to learn all of that, but you should know, okay, this is how you can check. If you see git log, any command, type help. Okay, you will see a manual open like this. Do you see that? Git log, show commit logs, what it does, what are all the different flags. See here, explanation of this command, including all the options. See, these are all the different options. Follow, no decorate, or else if you want to see particular things, you have so many options available with explanations. So depending on the requirement, this is how, see, start date, end date. This is how you can use every command. You don't need to learn all the options. That's not possible, not required also. But you should know, okay, this is how you can check any option you want. Right? That's a Git manual page. That's how you can see. This is one way to check from the CLI, or else you have this official documentation, right? This is the best guidance for Git. Always learn to refer the official documentation rather than any random pages on the web. Right? So here is the documentation. Similarly, if you want to check a log here, see a book is there, a complete manual with the content, right? Or else you can just search here, git log. It will show you all the commands related to Git, right? Again, link. So you have seen whatever you have seen on the CLI, this is on the browser, the same man page, right? So just for reference, if you need anything, this is how you should refer. Right? So from day one, we have started using the editor, VS Code editor. This is the editor we will use throughout the course. And these are the Git basics which you need to manage your project files. Like whatever tools we are learning, there will be the respective config files which will be managed by Git. That's a reason for learning Git initially. Like I said, we will learn Git in two perspectives. One is to manage your files. This is just the beginning. I have just introduced what is staging area, working directory, local repos. There's a lot more to do, right? We will be getting into those concepts. And today, like we have gone through some commands and concepts, right? This is how you should do the hands-on, because many people will understand in the class and they struggle to do the hands-on. This is what we observe. Because you just listen the class, you understand it. Later on, if you want to do the hands-on, you may be struggling with the commands, you may be stuck up. We have a WhatsApp group, like I said, a separate WhatsApp group for registered students for help the hands-on. But still you need to copy the command exactly, right? If you struggle and if you spend so much time, you people are all are busy, you may not be having that time. So like I mentioned yesterday, here are the lab exercises which will help you with the hands-on, easy hands-on. Means with the simple steps, you can complete your hands-on and get ready for the next class. This is the major part where team is working from almost from 2 months, and the things were streamlined this way, right? This is where you should go. Okay, go to lab assignments. Go to the lab assignment, and here you can see the topics. Like you can see whatever we did today, right? Installing Git on Windows. These are the topics we discussed today, and you have the commands explained here. And this is where you should go. Okay, go to assignment, and here are the steps. How to install Git, download Git. You have the URLs, everything here. Like whatever I have explained, right? They were documented here. Right, on Mac, this is how you can do, or this is how you can do. On if you are using a Linux instance, this is how you can do, right? So everything, whatever I have explained, they were all documented, which simplifies your hands-on. You don't need to struggle much to do the hands-on, because hands-on is mandatory, right? Only once you do the hands-on, you will gain grip over the subject. So creating a directory, getting into the directory, everything were there with the steps. Creating and adding the files, right? Like from how do you create from CLI, touch this file. Okay, some readme MD file is created. You may create text file. That's up to you which file you will use, right? So this is for your reference. Whatever we have discussed, initializing new Git repo, right? Adding the files, everything were there here step by step, which simplifies your hands-on. And you will also, you can check access to your Google Drive. If like whoever registered, you might be able to access, check the access once. I'm sharing this link. I'm sharing this link in the chat. Check the access. If you cannot access, and if you have registered and cannot access, reach out to Mr. Raj, this number on the website, right? This is the what you have to follow for hands-on. This is the number you can reach out to. And also along with this hands-on, okay, let's suppose you have completed your because if you follow this assignment, completion is very easy. Go to this quiz portal. Of course, you will have access. I believe you might, whoever registered will have access to this. Whatever discussed today, what does Git init do? Because these are the basics we covered, of course, the basic question. And this will help you to register the concepts, complete your quiz. I'm also sharing this. This is for like today's quiz. You can also go through it. It's a simple questionnaire as it's a basic topic. You can go through it. You can switch to your email account and do it, so that you will also get the results and it will be registered. As of now, everyone will be having these assignment and quiz for day one. Day one will be available for all of you, and the further days will be with a private access. So this is how you can do the hands-on. And again, coming to this particular drive, go to Git. Here are the list of the commands. Again, for your quick reference, apart from the website and the assignment portal, you also had the complete commands here listed. Any queries from anyone in doing the hands-on? Any questions? Any other queries? And
Yeah, hi Preeti. Once this quiz is completed, will you provide, and therefore once course is completed, we'll provide a course completion certificate.
course completion certificates will not be provided. Okay, course completion certificates provided by anyone will not be valid.
Okay.
those certifications will not have weightage. Okay. How you will gain, how you will claim that you learned this course is by showcasing your knowledge. You update your resume with the tools. Okay. We can help you in the resume preparation. You showcase what are all the tools you have learned, what are all the tools you have worked with. That will help you. And you clear the interview questions. That's how they will understand, they'll come to know your knowledge. Certifications like provided by anyone, like the trainers or training institutes, will not be of any use. That's another marketing strategy which won't help you much in practical.
Suppose this course is completed, I'm planning to do that certification. Is there any assistance from your end?
With
For
certificate,
example, I'm
yeah.
planning to do for Terraform or Kubernetes. It's like that. That in depth you will be covered for that course in this.
Okay. Certification assistance is, we will help you to how to go through the certification, what are the
Yeah.
links you should follow, how to, what is the process, we'll help you. And the Terraform course content, yes, I'm covering from basics till advanced, which will help you to
Okay.
work in your projects and clear the interviews, like I'm saying, right? Certification content will be separate. For any certification, content will be separate. The topics will be separate, but with the knowledge you have learned here, you don't need a separate training for it. You can self-learn. You can go to the tutorials available on the official website. Like the self-paced ones are available for free. You can just go through them and avail the certification. You don't need separate training after this course. I mean, separate instructor-led training is not needed. You can self-learn those additional topics and go through. Those are only certification oriented topics. There are certain topics which we never use in reality. Those are only for certification. So there is no point of covering them in the course, right? Hope you got the difference, right?
Yeah.
So, but with the
Yeah.
content we learn here, you can very easily go through the certification. By the way, Terraform
Yeah.
certification is one of the, like, a bit simple than Kubernetes certification. So you can go through
Yeah.
those topics.
Yeah. That's the thing I am asking for
And
that.
one more thing
Which
is,
is it?
yeah, one more thing I just want to add. One more thing is this Terraform certification is objective based, right?
Okay.
If you want me to explain in a much simple way, we all came from our 10th, then intermediate, like 11th, 12th, and then we go to some competitive exams, right? Like MSET or whatever, the competitive exams for getting a seat into engineering. So intermediate syllabus, the content will be same. There we have subjective, the elaborative answers, right? And in MSET also the same topics, but they are objective and you have to solve them with a simple tricks kind of. The approach is different. Same is the case here. Same topics, objective type. But of course, you don't have that much like MSET and all, but I just want to differentiate them.
Okay.
Rohit, for
Okay.
access, you can reach out Mr. Raj on this number. Any more queries from anyone? Have you all completed the quiz? Submitted the quiz? If you have submitted the quiz, we'll receive those answers, like the quiz results. I believe you also might have got the results. Have you all got the results? Okay, let me know once you have submitted. Okay, I can release those results so that you will see your report. Yeah, hope you all received the results. Yeah. So if you have lost any point there, just recheck your answers. So also you can retake these quizzes for interview purpose and all when you are preparing. These quizzes will help you for quick preparation. So what does Git init does? Which we have covered. Git initializes a new Git repository, which command will list all files, including hidden ones in a directory. What is the command? This is actually a next command. What is the command?
ls-la.
ls-la. And then what is the status of newly created file before it is staged?
Untracked.
Untracked. What is the difference between untracked and unstaged files?
Untracked means we have created the file only and we have worked on that, and it is not commit to add into the Git repository. And unstaged is the it is in the working directory and not added into the staging area.
Yeah, like untracked file is for the first time. You have created file for the first time. And yeah, you made some changes, but it is not added or uncommitted, right? It's not staged and committed. So that's untracked file. Suppose, okay, you have added this, committed this. Later on, if you make changes, file is already in the staging area and local repository. Only certain changes. So that will be considered like unstaged. Right? For unstaged, how do you add and commit?
Git commit hyphen am.
Yeah. You can do add and commit in a single command like using -am flag for unstaged, or else you can do separately also. But for untracked, you have to do separately only using git add and git commit, right?
Okay.
And which command is used to add changes to the staging area? This is quite simple.
Git add.
Git add. And git add file name will give. But if you want to add all of them in that folder, git add dot. Dot means it will add everything. And how do you create an empty file named example.txt? How do you create a file?
Touch example.txt.
Touch command is another Linux command which will help you create a file, or else like you can also, here relevant command is this one. You may create it from editor, you may create it from Vim editor if it is CLI, if it is Linux based system, right? There are many ways to create it. The relevant one here is touch command. What command will show the state of working directory on the staging area?
Option C, git status.
Status command will show you, like, if you want to know where is my file, whether it is in the staging area or local repository, git status command will help you with. And then which command is used to commit changes to the repository with a message? Obviously,
Git commit.
message flag is mandatory. You cannot commit with M flag. So what is the command?
Git commit hyphen am message.
Yeah. M is mandatory, and that is used to understand what this commit is about. So giving a reasonable, relevant message, relevant comment is important. In real practice, yes, we look at the commit message and understand what this commit is all about. So better we give some reasonable messages once we start our actual work. As of now, we were using some dummy sample files to learn the concept. So we were giving some random messages. Otherwise, that is a helpful feature actually. So what does git ls files do?
List all files tracked by Git.
Yeah, git list all the files tracked by git. Means whatever in the staging area, whatever in the local repository will be shown by this command. And then how can you view a simplified commit history?
Git log.
Git log.
Or git log one
Log
line.
hyphen hyphen online.
Yeah, git log one line. Simplified commit history. Git log will show you the detailed commit history. Git log one line will show you the simplified one. See, whenever you are going through quiz with such commands, you can also check out here, right? So that it will help you register the things better, right? Git log is showing you detailed things. So Git log one line will help you simplified commit history. And then what is the status of a tracked file that has been modified but not yet staged?
Unstaged.
Stage.
Unstaged, right? So understanding that status message is very important. So unstaged means file is already added, already in the staging area and local repos. Now you are making modifications. Be unstaged. Right? Any more questions?
I have a small question regarding adding and committing. Can we give git -am always? Is it possible giving am always?
AM always, AM can be given only for unstaged changes. For untracked changes, you have to do separately only. That's what some time back I have written. Anyway, let me reiterate. Okay. See, if it is untracked file, means it's a new file. Okay, you will see the status message like untracked, right? For the first time when you created the file. So then
So only for the first time files we can give -am. So rest of the files we have to use separately
no,
add.
it was reverse actually. For the first time, if you have created the file, it will be shown like untracked. For untracked, you have to give git add, git commit separately only.
Okay, fine, got it.
Suppose if
Thank
it
you.
is already there, it is unstaged. Okay, file is already there, only you have modifications. Then you can do git commit. Please keep muted everyone so that you will not have background noise.
Full అయిందా?
Having no background noise is very important because these are provided, recordings are provided for you, right? So that you can listen, you can go through a quick revision during your interviews and all. So it's all our responsibility to keep the sessions without background noise and request everyone to follow that. So yeah, coming back. So if it is unstaged, then you can do git commit -am and the commit message. In this case, you can do separately also, or else with a -am.
And a small help. See how did you get this bash Z shell? I didn't see that while you were explaining.
Which system are you using?
VS Code.
No, which system? Is it a Windows?
Windows.
Okay. In Windows or Mac, if you open, here is the terminal. Okay. If you open the new terminal, you will see this here. And here, whether you want to open PowerShell or a shell or a Git bash, here is the plus and a drop down. Here you can, whatever is
got it.
installed in your system will be only shown. I can't see PowerShell because this is Mac. If you have Windows, if you have installed PowerShell, you will also see PowerShell. If you have installed Git bash, you will see. Whatever terminals you have configured, you can see them here.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
I see G shell as it is Mac. Any more queries from anyone? So these are the topics we have discussed today. Let me summarize so that it will help you for your revision. These are the topics we have discussed. We have discussed what is a version control system. We have discussed about types of version control systems. And we have discussed about two types here, centralized and distributed. By now, you know their differences. Going through the recording will help you revise and register the things better. After this, we have seen Git installation and then creating Git repository using Git init. These are the different commands we have gone through: Git status, Git log one line, Git add, and Git add file name and Git add dot to add everything. And then Git commit -am some message, right? Or Git commit -am message. We have discussed about Git architecture. Sorry, I missed writing here actually. Git architecture. Of course, architecture of distributed centralized, Git architecture in particular, understood the working directory, staging area, local repository, differences between them. We got a clear understanding on these concepts today. Also, we have discussed about untracked changes, unstaged changes, which is very important. Some people, like maybe some of you may have queries. Do we need to understand Git to this depth? Why do we need to understand untracked, unstaging? Because I'm saying this because some of you might be already using Git in your projects. You might be doing pull push. Maybe you might not have used these concepts, or you might have not seen the requirement of this. But like I'm saying, if you want to work individually, gain grip over the subject, these are necessary. Just learning push and pull, doing clone, merging, committing without knowing these concepts will not help you to excel and become expertise in the subject and face the interviews. So that's the whole point of covering these things, which are very important. You will see the difference between the person who knows these concepts and who just blindly runs the commands. Here I want, like, that's our goal, right? We all want to clear our interviews, handle the projects, right? So these are the things we should master. So I believe, yeah, this is enough for today. Tomorrow we'll begin with other things like pushing this, deleting the files. Today we have created the files, we have modified the files. We'll see deleting the files, right? We'll also see reverting the changes, which is very important, and then merging the changes, right? And also merge with conflicts, handling the conflicts. See, we didn't see today how multiple people work on those files and all, right? These are all the interesting and very important concepts coming up. Everyone should know these things. This is the agenda for tomorrow. So,
Yeah, Puriti, I have one question.
yes, please.
It will be going to cover for GitLab or GitHub Actions in that is
GitHub will be covered. GitHub Actions will not be covered. GitHub Actions is like a CI tool, continuous integration server. We are covering Jenkins in this course.
okay. Okay. Only Git and GitHub only in this cover.
Git, GitHub, Jenkins, and the other course content we have shared, right? All of that will be covered.
Okay. Okay.
And in couple of hours, you'll be having the recorded session available. Once the processing done, the video will be available for us, and we'll share it on a YouTube with a public access. The first couple of sessions, like 1, 2, 3 sessions. Go through it, go through the hands-on. Okay, check your access, reach out to Mr. Raj for any access details. And yeah, this is all for today. Anything else you have? Go through the recording once again and go through the assignments and all which I have shown you for your hands-on. That will help you complete your hands-on with much ease. This is what you should go through. Any more queries from anyone, any concerns, let me know. All right then. Thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you all for joining. See you all tomorrow. Bye everyone. Here is Mr. Raj's number. On the website, this is the number of Mr. Raj. Let me share it in the WhatsApp. Sorry, let me share it in the Zoom chat. Got the number, everyone?
Yes.
Right. All right then. Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Bye everyone.